Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name's Farah Halaby and I'm a professional Muslim life coach, and I'd like to ask you a question. Are you easily hurt? Are you easily upset by people around you? Do you feel down? Do you get frustrated? Do you question yourself? Do you wonder why people treat you the way they do? And do you want that to stop? Now, I spoke to a client of mine earlier this week, and we've been working on various different issues that have come up in her life. And one of them was the way in which she feels that people just don't get her. Those people around her, they just don't understand. Because the way they treat her, or the way that she perceives that they treat her, she's really, really offended and hurt by them. And there are a few people that are the main offenders, but they're people that are close to her. So for her, it's not a case of cutting them out of her life. It's not a case of being able to avoid them. These are really important people in her life that she loves, that she wants to be around. But she's always on the defensive. She doesn't feel as if she can be herself around them. And she ends up feeling really, really upset and really hurt by what they do. And she's questioning herself all the time. She's questioning them, she's questioning in her mind. She doesn't say anything out loud. She wonders why they would have said that. Why did they do that? Why did they not tell her something? Why did they leave her out? Why didn't they just let her know? Why did they use that language? Why did they say what they said? Why did they do what they did? And when she's in that headspace, in that thought storm, and she's questioning why, it's really hard for her to come up with an answer that will give her crystal clear clarity, that will explain, that will excuse in her mind the level of hurt, upset, frustration, sadness that those actions or words have done. And she doesn't find the answers because there isn't anything that would justify the way that she feels, because she's the one that's feeling it. She's the one that has interpreted, that has calculated, that has translated their words, their behaviour towards her to mean something about her. And the work that we've done has been to separate the two, because when we're trying to make sense of other people's actions, we're using almost like this code, this rule, this law of our expectations of how we would, behave. How many times have you found yourself asking or saying to yourself, I could never have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I would never say that. I'd never treat someone else like that. So why do they treat me like that? I don't treat them like that. I don't say that to them. So why? Why would they say that? So all the while we're trying to interpret someone else's behaviours, someone else's vibe by our rules, standards, expectations. We're trying to put a meaning on someone else or for someone else's behaviour that is indicative and created by us. So the work that we do is to really help, or the work that we've been doing has been to really help see where that experience is coming from. How you've got from someone saying something, someone doing something, to equal hurt, frustration, upset. And when in the sessions that we've had, going to what comes up for you when someone says something, when someone does something, what your responses are, it's usually habitual, old thoughts and beliefs that have been created over time that don't serve you. If you have the perception that someone is always saying something hurtful, whatever they say is going to have, it's going to have a successful kind of hurt rate. Because if you're expecting someone, you know, if you always think that someone is just, you know, gets on your nerves or is always doing something to hurt you or just doesn't understand, then it's almost like you've got that on your radar. But what if you didn't take what they said, didn't interpret it in your way, and just left it at the door and just took it to mean nothing about you and everything about them? They said it, okay. Whether they're going through a tough time or not, you can try and reason it away. You can try and, but the assumptions that you're going to make are either they're, you know, they didn't mean it, they did, you know, you can try and give them benefit of the doubt, or they're just a horrible person, or maybe they did mean it. But whatever it is, it's only going to be what you think at the time. So if someone is doing something or has done something, and I'm not talking about any kind of, when I say why do we let people hurt us? I'm not talking about physical. I'm not talking about mental abuse. I'm not talking about spiritual abuse. I'm not talking about those hurts. They're not. That's not behaviour. That's a crime. That's completely different. And in no way am I condoning or demeaning that behaviour at all. What I'm talking about is how we perceive the actions and words of others, and we get really, really upset by them, and we think that they're doing it all the time, just to us. And we get really, really caught up. And when there's someone close and we can't get away from them, we can't separate our lives from them, what do you do? When you feel that there are no choices, when you feel that there is no way out, you lose all sense of hope. You feel burdened, you feel heavy, you feel upset, you feel fearful, you feel frustrated, you might even feel anxious, you're probably feeling all of those feelings that churn around in your stomach, in your mind, and it just breeds more of that feeling. And in that place there isn't a sense of hope or solution or way out. There's just more of the same. By understanding how that happens in the first place, gives you a lens on not working the other person out, but helping you understand what is actually going on for you, and opening up the ways in which you do have a choice, what you can affect, what you can impact. Can't control someone else's behaviour. Can't control what someone else thinks, says, feels or does. But what you can have the most impact on is yourself. You have more influence on you, and you have a level of influence over others through the way that you behave. So for you to understand what's going on with you, not the other person, they're going through something. And I'll give you an example. I had a young client of mine, a different client, and she was going through a bit of a tough time with her peers, and there was a lot of what might be explained away as, you know, that's just what kids do. You know, that's just what young girls do. You know, one minute they're your best friend, the next minute they're your worst enemy. And it was kind of explained away like that. But when we looked at how she responded and how she defined herself in the face of her friends, in respect to her peer group, there was more to learn about her and what she actually interpreted, needed, wanted, got from this peer group, these people, these girls that one minute, you know, they were her ride or die. They were her best buddies. And the next second, they were, you know, completely just not very nice, and she didn't have very nice things to say about them. But when we looked at what was going on for her, there were more solutions, there are more avenues to be able to pursue. Because like I say, we can't control others, but what we can do is have the most impact and influence on ourselves. And with the will and permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and with the understanding of how we interpret the world, how we interpret relationships, how we experience this beautiful life, with more of an understanding on that, by looking inwards, by reflecting, by really, all of the efforts that we try to work other people out, when we put that on ourselves, subhanAllah, there is the most amazing outcome, because it frees you. You're no longer at the whim of someone else's words, their actions. You're no longer waiting to, see what they do so that you've got a response to it. You're actually, it's like being able to steer your own ship. You're not waiting to see which way the wind goes. You've got a sail. You can pop it up, cruise along in life the way that you want. So if you find yourself easily hurt or affected by the actions or the words of others, and you spend a lot of time questioning and wondering why, how they can do that, asking yourself questions that you don't have the answers for. They just breed more and more questions. There is no clarity, there is no explanation, and there are no answers there. There is just more stress, anxiety, worry, upset, frustration, none of that good stuff that you're looking for. If you would like a way that you can really choose or see the choices that you have and be part of, optimize your life, give yourself, instead of frustration and upset and hurt and feeling a bit crappy, to be fair, seeing the world, seeing your life through the lens of optimism, hope, awe, wonder, peace, having the relationships that are dear to you in the way that you want, you being that person, not responding to the people around you, but you being the person in that relationship that you want to be. You having an impact, you steering your ship, you setting your sail, and you doing this life, creating the life that you want, to live a life that you love, that is serving to you, that is you being you, you doing you in the most beautiful way. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us there's no compulsion in our faith. There's no compulsion. There's no, even belief is a choice. And He gave you the greatest gift. It elevates us above all other creations, this gift of free will. This beautiful mind to make sense of the world, to decide what you want to do, decide who you want to be, decide how you go out in this life. And subhanAllah, it is a really beautiful life because you have a beautiful mind and you're pretty awesome. So if you would like some help to do that, you know where I am, DM me or email me, details are in the comments. And if you'd like to join my WhatsApp list, then just pop me a DM with your number and let's talk. Let's have a conversation that sets things clear for you. Because if you've been feeling like this for a while, what would happen if you continued feeling like this? If you are hurt, if you are feeling upset, if you are in the relationships that you have and it's a real chore, it's really hard, and you spend most of your time trying to appease people, trying to make things all right, trying to push down the hurt, trying to avoid it, trying to do everything you can to avoid yourself being hurt, or driving yourself crazy, wondering what it is that you're doing that would elicit that behaviour in someone else. If all of that is taking a toll on you, if you think about your relationships right now, think about the relationship that hurts you the most right now. that upsets you the most. If you are someone that is easily hurt or someone that does feel like that one person can't do wrong for doing right, what would it be like for you if that relationship changed? What impact would it have in your life? If it was one where you were you and you were okay with that you weren't worrying, that you weren't fearful that they would be hurting you or upsetting you, or that you would be doing anything that would elicit that fear, elicit that, that displeasure, what would it mean for you? And if you would like a way of turning that around, you know where I am. As always, I pray that you are safe, well, happy and healthy, and inshallah, I'll see you again very soon for another little conversation. But for now, take care. Assalamu alaikum.